bad influence.
Hello everyone, I'm Derek. This is There Will Be Cars. If you're not familiar with this channel, I drive new vehicles that manufacturers send me to test out for a week, and then I bring you my observations. Today I'm doing something a little different on this channel. I'm doing what I'm tentatively calling a Greenlights and Misfires review of this vehicle right here. I'll get to that in a second. So Greenlights and Misfires is basically just highlights and lowlights of a vehicle. And in this case, I'll be covering the 2021 Mercedes-AMG GLS I. Mercedes-AMG has done something absolutely diabolical under the hood. So they've paired their twin-turbo 4-liter V8 with their EQ boost system that you're probably familiar with in the AMG 53 models. That means it has an electric starter generator paired with a 48-volt electrical system and a battery. In short bursts, in certain instances, this already powerful vehicle makes staggering amounts of horsepower and torque. GLS means this is the SUV version of an S-Class. And that's what I'm calling one of the green lights for the new GLS I, is the fact that it has that S-Class presence. Now, down here in Texas, SUVs are pretty much everywhere. And this is definitely an SUV. It's a 3-row, and it's in a very low-key color. But despite how common SUVs are in this state, the GLS I still manages to stand out. I think one of the contributing factors is the overall shape, especially from the front. It's not boxy, it's not round. It has that stout, upright look to it, but it's very polished. It's very sculpted. There aren't any real hard edges to it. And then you've got this grille. It's got the bold, hard, and fast lines inside. And then, of course, those are chromed out, so it stands out even more. And then you've got these jewel-like headlights. And because of the night package, you have a high contrast look on top of that. Back here, you've got these really dynamic, ruby-like taillights, very rich. And then this strip of chrome that stretches all the way across the back, more bright work. And then the pipes down below. And the sound coming out of them definitely makes this stand out as well. But there's one particular feature about this GLS I as it's equipped that I think gets the most attention. It's these absolutely massive wheels. These are optional. When I found out they were available on the new GLS I, I crossed my fingers that my media tester would come in with them. And sure enough, it did. These are 23-inch monoblock wheels. They give this GLS just such an unusual, distinctive look. It already has presence just because of its sheer size, but these wheels absolutely add to it. This is another green light about the GLS I, the engine. This is AMG's hand-built, one-man, one-engine, 4-liter twin-turbo V8, and it produces 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque. AMG has paired that with the EQ boost system. That consists of an electric starter generator coupled with a 48-volt electrical system and a battery. That can kick in with an additional 21 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. Before the GLS came into my driveway, I had experienced EQ boost in a variety of AMG 53 models, the E53 Coupe, the CLS 53, and the AMG GT 4-door Coupe. It made those straight-six models a lot of fun and very addictive. The fact that AMG paired EQ boost with its most potent V8 is just absolutely bonkers, but I love it. Of course, to go along with all that AMG power is AMG sound. Before I go any further, if you're not already a subscriber to There Will Be Cars, please go ahead and subscribe right now. I'm always bringing new content to this channel, and I'd love it if you were here to see it. Another green light about the GLS 63 is that it's a 7-seater on paper and in the real world. So of course up front, you've got these bucket seats. Soft closed doors, another nice touch. And in the back, you've got a power adjustable bench. You can adjust the two main sections, forward and back. So right now, this is fully forward. But if I slide back on this, seat moves back. You can also recline it a little bit. So I'm gonna move it forward right now, and then move it back. And with the seat in the middle fully back, I had no problem with legroom or headroom. Then I went into the third row, and with the middle seat fully back, I still had a surprising amount of legroom and headroom, but with the headrest fully up, the bottom of the headrest was hitting my upper back in a weird way, so I wasn't crazy about that, but the dimensions, the main dimensions, were a good fit. I had enough headroom, enough legroom. That S-classiness extends to the inside of the GLS 63 as well. So this particular one is dressed in a lot of carbon fiber. You've got the Burmester audio system, heated, cooled seats, multiple levels of adjustment, also a power thigh bolster. Then this has got an optional steering wheel with the Dynamica and carbon fiber sections. I especially love the AMG drive unit, but I'll get to that later. Then up front here, you've got dual 12.3-inch widescreens. And right here, you've got the infotainment setup. You could also use it as a touch screen if you want to. That gets us to some of the very S-Class features. So the front seats offer multiple massage modes. Then you can adjust the lumbar. So let's do it for the passenger side, like Brian was doing earlier. And you have so many different ways of adjusting it. So you can click on it, bring it in, bring it out, go lower down, tailor it that way. You can even adjust the seat heating balance for each individual seat up front. So if you want it full length, seat back and bottom, you can get that. Or if you just want it on the seat back, you can do that as well. And then you've got the massage modes that I mentioned earlier. So a whole slew of those. I typically go for the activating or the classic. And then there's even these workouts. I'm going to press that right now. It says press back against point and backrest. So you're kind of working with the seat. It's almost like a leather-covered sort of physical trainer. And then ambient lighting. I've been calling this the party bus, and this really contributes to it. You can adjust the color, 64 different colors. And then you can have, you know, multiple colors at once. You can have a sort of animation. You've got all the various infotainment options here. Then you got your performance readouts. They even have an off-road mode down there. So when you have the dynamic select and the trail or sand mode, you can get an idea of, you know, the angles you're traveling at, all that kind of stuff. Well, let's go up to engine. Gives you the temperature, how much power you're using, and then of course you got the dynamic select system, and you can set up the individual mode as you like. You got all the parameters here that you can adjust for it. Even the exhaust. Now that brings me to one of my other favorite features of the GLS 63. Now this is an optional feature, and luckily this vehicle happens to have it, and that is this right here. This is the AMG drive unit. You can adjust these functions in other areas right here, but putting them right here not only makes it even more convenient and intuitive because you want to have your hands on the wheel as much as possible, it also kind of makes it feel a little more like a race car, as much as a giant SUV like this can feel like a race car. So right here, I can just turn this dial to change the dynamic select mode, go to Sport, Sport Plus, go back up, and I've got the individual setting. Then I've got the slippery setting, so if it's raining outside, it gives you added peace of mind. And then there's a trail mode. So this adjusts for, you know, rocky surfaces, things like that, and automatically raises the air suspension by a couple of inches. Got it in trail mode right now, so that raises it up on the suspension. Gives you a little more ground clearance, as you can see here. There's even a sand mode, and I think you can see right there, the engine mode switches to sand, which I think is really interesting, and you can hear an audible change. Now, I've shown you all these various menu options up here, right? You might be wondering, where is the dedicated climate control menu? But if you look down here, where all the climate control switchgear is, it's right here. So you have to press down on that, and then you can adjust basically everything. So air quality has got two components to it. There's an ionizer on board, and then the air freshener system. Let's see what scent they call this. We got the AMG branding, of course, and then appropriately AMG number 63. It smells like a pretty mild sort of cologne or even a unisex scent, and it's pleasant, doesn't cling to your clothes, it's not overpowering. You can adjust all of the fan split, temperature, all that kind of stuff for the first row of seats, and then second row, and then third row. Brian's got a great eyeful of the rear HVAC controls right in front of him. And plenty of air vents back here too. Yeah, it's always a nice touch when they put them on the V-pillars. And another luxury feature of the GLS 63 is this giant retractable shade. It definitely makes it feel a lot more open, a lot more airy. So you hit this vehicle icon button and it gives you this comprehensive menu. So you got all the quick access stuff like the parking sensors and, you know, lane keep assist, your head-up display, all that kind of stuff. Just in case you get behind on your lease payments, they have tow-away protection mode. And then you've got this where it'll lower when you're getting into the GLS. Now, it does have the running boards on the outside, and this isn't a terribly high or jacked up vehicle, so that's not really been an issue. But if you have, you know, kids, or, you know, my mother is very short, so To me, every little bit helps. Plus, it's nice to use some of the toys on here. And then up here, you get all the driver assist systems. Again, very much S-Class-like because you've got an array of advanced safety technologies, and you can set the thresholds and all that kind of stuff. And then here you can switch up the main display. So right now it's in Sport, makes sense. It's an AMG. But then there's Super Sport. So that'll change up everything right there. Very modern, very techy looking. You got a digital speedo, which is great, and then of course you can see how much horsepower and torque you're using. And then classic, in case you feel like it, just round gauges, but even that you can configure pretty much everything there. This is kind of a green light and a misfire, the MBUX infotainment system. When I first tried it in the GLE 350, I really liked it. I found it immediately more intuitive than the command system. It was very user-friendly. But as time goes on and I test more Mercedes vehicles with MBUX, the more I discover that it's not quite perfect. If I say the words, "Hey Mercedes,"
how can I help?
It comes on. Pretty cool, right? The frustrating thing about this system is you don't have to say those two words together to get the system's attention. Sometimes if you just say the word Mercedes, the system perks up and asks you what you want it to do. It's a little too eager to please. It's paying a little too much attention. And sometimes if you just say a word that kind of sounds like Mercedes, it'll butt in and ask you, what do you want? On the flip side of that, there have been times when I say the two wake words clearly and it's not there. It doesn't respond, so I have to repeat them. So it's kind of spotty. It's not perfect, but I have been impressed by some of its abilities when it's actually tuned in and when I actually need it. So I was driving to a particular address with Brian from New Car Spin. I activated the system and told it to navigate me to a certain address. And I said the street number, the street name, the city, and the state. And I thought, just like with a lot of voice-activated nav systems, I thought there is no way it's going to get this. Because, some systems don't seem to know that certain streets exist. So I thought it was a long shot that it was even going to know what street I was talking about. But sure enough, pulled it right up, navigated me right to it. Now I've got it in comfort mode. And with the air suspension, the way it's set up and everything, it is pretty damn comfortable. It does definitely have what you would expect from the S-Class of SUVs. It's pretty gentle. Even with the giant 23-inch monoblocks, ride quality is smoother than I thought it would be. I'm gonna leave it in comfort and then I'll switch open the active exhaust. Oh yeah. One thing that you've got to respect and kind of takes away from a really curvy driving experience like the one we're in right now is the fact that it's just so long, it's so heavy. It is kind of a downside, but it's to be expected. It's a giant 3-row SUV that they just happen to strap a rocket engine to. Now let's test out the manual shift mode. So I'll just access that through the AMG drive unit. All right. Now the 4-liter V8 is attached to a 9-speed automatic. It's not a dual clutch unit. Okay, so a little bit of a delay there. All right. Not quite as snappy as I was expecting it to be.
Punch it!
Alright. Well, you know what? That was worth the slowing down. Right. Sorry, I got a whole bunch of stuff back there sliding around. Again, not quite as snappy as I thought they would be, but it does sound good. The GLS 63's got a variety of different drive modes, but one it doesn't have is race. So this tops out at S+, which we're in right now. That was so smooth.
Smooth, but ferocious. Oh, fuck. It feels, you're doing 78. That's great. I mean, like, I don't get a sensation of the speed as a passenger at all.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, it's, wow. Now, I had a rolling start to that, so it wasn't from an absolute dig or anything, but yeah, wow. It builds speed quickly, but very smoothly. Okay, now I felt that. Good thing these seats are nice and cushy.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. God, it sounds good. Now, I told Brian before, and I got to tell you all, I'll just switch this back to automatic. When you really get on it in this vehicle, it's so big, it's so heavy, but it's so quick for its size. It's the horizontal equivalent of dropping a refrigerator off a cliff. And it kind of looks like one in white. Whoa. Wow. Nice. Woo. If I didn't mention it before, part of what makes this vehicle, aside from its EQ boost system and its colossally powerful 4-liter twin-turbo V8, is the fact that it routes its power through all four wheels. This has the AMG 4MATIC Plus all-wheel drive system. So obviously power goes to all four corners, but 4MATIC Plus is fully variable. It can route 100% of its torque through the rear axle. So even though it is an all-wheel drive vehicle, it's not strictly that. It's not locked in at like a 50-50 split. This thing just hooks and goes. It's comical how powerful and how quick something this large, this heavy, this spacious is. Now that's one of the primary benefits of the EQ boost system. It gives you a jolt of 21 extra horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. So if you need to take off from a standing start, or you need to overtake somebody on the highway, that can kick in and just give you that surge, give you that extra oomph. You feel that bucking too.
Yeah.
Love it.
You're able to get from 0 to 60 in some amount of time.
Yeah, official factory rating is 4.1.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that was...
So 4 seconds. I mean, people have to pay attention for 4 seconds. I think it takes some longer than that to check a text message. It is a 3-row. It is bonkers.
Sure is.
But it's not full bonkers. It's also luxury.
Yeah, it's luxury. It's comfortable.
I'm very comfortable. We could do a road trip in this right now.
Considering that this has 23-inch wheels, they've got plenty of room for gigantic brakes, and they put them behind the monoblocks. Up front, you've got roughly 16-inch rotors, and in the back, they're roughly 14.5, and they do their jobs very well.
Yeah, it's auto downshifting and everything. It's great.
Yeah. Now, that felt really good. That was real stable, good bite, wasn't a lot of fluff in it. You know, it was at the right point in the pedal travel. That was great. I liked that.
Floor it. I'm a bad influence.
You sure are. Well, I don't see any flashing lights behind us, so that's good. Oh man, yeah. Well, yeah, it's, you know, there's a savagery to it, but it's also, it's balanced with a certain, I don't want to say, it's not sophistication, but like there's a polish to it.
Air freshener and the
Great AC system.
massage, fantastic AC. It's just like, it's the cost of a condo, but you basically are getting a condo, like a luxury condo. It's crazy.
It's big enough.
Yeah, but it's doing everything. I mean, it's blowing people off the lights. It won't do a Corvette or a Porsche Turbo S, but I mean, 98% of what you see out here is going to be slower.
Yeah, and considering like all the other stuff that it's built to do, I mean, it's
We didn't even get to off-road. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some, you know, some off-road technology and, you know, engineering and consideration put into it, but it's also very good at going quickly, which is the primary focus of this. There you have it, everyone. The cool and not so cool things about the 2021 Mercedes GLS 63. I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time on There Will Be Cars.